Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and to another In Tune with Nature podcast. Today's topic is going to be a topic that is probably one of the most highly debatable topics in the industry today. Scent control and cover scent products. And do they work? We're going to leave that up to the buck biologist. JJ, do they work?
Whew. We're going to get some heat on this one.
Have we just been scammed? Is it one big scam?
The short answer, yes. The long answer, I mean, I do use them, but as far as do I use them for what they tell me to use them for? No. I don't know if that makes sense.
So, in your mind, something's better than nothing.
It's not a one-all. You know.
Yeah.
You're not going to succeed only if you have, not even close.
Yeah. Still got to hunt the wind. Still got to hunt smart.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been plenty of research done on the topic. There's been some experimental things done using dogs with scent products. I know Seek One did a really good video on that, and impressively enough for the dog, he pretty much found them pretty easy every time, no matter what product. And if y'all have never seen that video, head over to Seek One, check it out. It's a pretty cool video. You'll learn something, and you'll probably get pretty discouraged on all the scent control products that you thought worked for all these years. But I think the mindset should be something's better than nothing, obviously, but don't totally rely on something like that to basically keep you concealed from a downwind buck or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my mindset for many years on using this stuff. Like, I conceal my clothes, I spray everything down and do this, do that, and like I just don't have to hunt the wind, But that's really the furthest thing from the truth. And I think some of it early on was marketed that way, which is pretty much a big scam.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is, Scent Blocker and Scent Lock, all those guys that, they make the clothes with the carbon line stuff that supposedly holds in your body odor, that kind of thing. I mean, not to say that stuff doesn't work. It's helping. We'll say that it's definitely helping, but you'd have to have every square inch of your body covered. Basically be in a plastic bag to not have any kind of orifices. I guess orifices is the right word. Leaking fluid or leaking scent. Jesus, who's leaking fluid in the woods? Leaking scent. No, I think that they've done a really good job with marketing scent stuff, and there's a million different things out there. And I use them. Brett uses them. All of us use them because it's kind of like he said. Why not? It can be the difference of just overbearing your scent versus just leaving a little bit. So we'll use the tools that are given to us, but please, guys, don't totally rely on that stuff because you will be busted every time. And there's a lot of companies out there that'll tell you, yeah, you're right, that most of that other stuff doesn't work, but our stuff does. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's that's a tough cookie to crack. I mean, our bodies are constantly putting out scent, as we sit. We're I couldn't tell you what all mine consist of. Probably a bunch of, I don't know, pickles and dip and whatever else I put in my body, but it's just constantly putting that stuff out. So you'd have to be constantly spraying yourself over and over and over. But I mean, we're not scientists. We're not telling you we know it all, but just from experience, guys, don't totally rely on that stuff.
Google fact: white-tailed deer have 297 million olfactory scent receptors compared to humans, which only have 5 million, and a canine or a dog has 220 million. So that means a white-tailed deer's sense of smell is nearly a third greater than that of a canine or a dog. there was some studies done with scent control products, several studies and several experiments done with using a dog, and pretty much every time the dog finds the human, because
Yeah.
like the white-tailed deer, a dog also is able to separate the scent. So they're smelling the human,
Both.
they're smelling the cover scent, whatever you're using, and they're smelling the bird right down the street, or you know what I'm saying? Like they're separating all these things. So that's something that they can do to where humans just don't.
It's kind of like we can smell the apple pie, but they can smell the flour and the sugar and the salt and the apples and the breading. Yeah, they can separate it all. So they're smelling you and your cover scent. That's
right.
That's the best way to put it. And that Seek-One video, obviously, it wasn't a constant, dead science fact video, and they tell you that.
Right.
But
and none of it is.
They did a very it would be hard to do that, but I think they showed a very good representation of, and that dog was like kind of doing what deer do. Like what I talk about a lot with is I like to leave a positive influence, and so
right.
He a lot of times he was wanting to find them, so it made it a little different than a deer who doesn't want to find the human, obviously, a lot of the time. But it can be a good and a bad thing. So, like, a deer smelling you, does that deer relate that to food, water, and, that kind of stuff? Or does it relate to danger, danger, danger? So, in that video, I think the dog was kind of relating in a positive sense. Obviously, the dog wasn't scared of the guy. He wanted to find him. So,
and he got rewarded every time he found him.
Right. He got rewarded every time. So we take that mindset, and I've done years of dog training, and I take the mindset of positive reinforcement and getting the dog to do what you want it to do because of positive things, not negative things, rather than beating the dog when he doesn't sit. You treat him when he does, and that's with any kids and everything. But we take that same thing in the deer woods. We want the deer to be okay with us being around. We're going to make it where it's a positive thing. So that's kind of like why we say we use the scent stuff, because it does tend to tone us down some. But if you're not hunting the wind, guys, then you already have seen the results of that. I can go and tell you. Or maybe you haven't seen it because you haven't seen any deer and you don't know why. But they're smelling you before you can see them. I can assure you that. Yeah.
If you're not seeing deer, then and there's deer in the area, then that's 100% what's happening. Now, on a private land setup like what you have mostly Jaden, and that Jaden hunts on, and we have a little bit of positive reinforcement. Those deer associating you, the scent, not so much with danger, but something that's positive like feed and water, whatever. That you may be using, but, public land, that is not something you're going to have to be so much smarter in your setups, because, when you're traveling 2-3 miles deep into public land, you're not able to give that positive reinforcement via your scent. So it's got to be, you got to be on your game a little bit more in areas that deer are just not used to either smelling that human scent, or they've already related that human scent to danger at some point in their life.
That even with public land, like I know in particular Barber County, there's a lot of agricultural farming stuff that they do there for the deer. So when it's not hunting season, those guys that are riding those tractors, they're seeing deer all the time. The deer obviously know, they hear the tractor, smell the people, but they don't sense it with danger because, for one, every time they hear that tractor, smell that tractor, something new changes in the woods for the good. It gets crops fed, the briars are cut, so new ones pop up, that kind of thing. So they relate that tractor to good things, so they see deer. So it's like, you just take that mindset and just carry it on. But obviously, the deer woods get flooded with hunters, and it becomes a negative thing. It becomes a pressure thing, that kind of thing. But I mean, you ask the guys that are managing public land in the off season on those tractors, dude, they're seeing deer left and right, and they'll stand in the field and watch them as they plow those fields. I a couple years ago I worked for a Kubota tractor company, and the WMA guys, they owned a lot of Kubotas, and we talked to them in the stores. Say, what's the place looking like? How much are you keeping up? That kind of thing. I mean, it's hundreds of thousands or thousands of acres, not hundreds of thousands, but thousands of acres that they were keeping up. And they're like, yeah, dude, we're loaded up with them. We see them all day, every day. But pretty soon, next couple of months, people are going to start coming in here, scouting a lot, walking the woods, leaving their scent everywhere, and you slowly see less deer. And that's just how it is.
Yeah, because
but I know a lot of WMAs are not as involved.
Yeah, because a lot of that is you're pushing into those, especially the mature bucks. Obviously, as deer hunters, that's what we hunt, mature bucks.
Right.
But you're pushing into their safety zones, and so that's what's making them uncomfortable. That's what's making them start moving around, and obviously that's what's going to make them start to be a lot more aware. That scent's back in the woods. It's too close for comfort. It was out here in the fields and feed and all that stuff, but now it's starting to try to move into my bedroom. And hey, right. It's hunting season. That's probably how they relate it. So,
yeah, for sure.
Back on the scent stuff, a little bit of factual information here. Researchers at Mississippi State University found that a deer's sense of smell, like a dog's, can be anywhere from 500 to 1,000 times more acute than a human's.
500 to 1,000 times more?
Acute than a human's. Meaning basically they can sort out up to 6 smells at one time. So that kind of backs up what we were saying earlier. They can smell you and your cover scent, and if you farted an hour ago, or soiled your pants, whatever.
Right.
They can sort out 6 different smells at one time. That's pretty.
Yeah, that's why I don't fart in the woods. I hold it the whole time.
That's pretty. Yeah.
You fart in the truck. You don't fart in the stand.
Right. Leave it in the truck, but it's probably going to be in.
Hold it.
your fermented branches. So, even on that matter as well, it's pretty much saying that under normal conditions, a deer can smell a human that is not making any attempt to hide his odor whatsoever, which, leaving your fart in the truck or in your britches, either way, is up to 1/4 of a mile away. So those conditions would be humid with a light breeze, and it says on perfect conditions can be even further away. So you're not fooling a deer's nose. You're not doing it. Now,
not with your little spray bottle. No.
No. Now you can hunt smart. You can hunt the wind, you can hunt the thermals, and things like that. But there's enough research out there to show that you're not doing it simply standalone through cover scent products. Just not happening. It may tone down human scent by a small percentage, but it's not the end all be all. And I think most of us know that.
Yeah.
But I think some people, even some younger hunters or more inexperienced deer hunters, probably lean on that too much. I know that I did at one point, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and guys, we're not talking necessarily about the ozonics products or any type of ozone. We're simply talking about cover scent, things that are made to mask over your scent. Ozone machines, or ozonics in particular, are made and designed to encapsulate your scent and dissolve it. So it's basically eliminating it rather than covering it up. So those things are a little different. I have seen those work. I'm not going to totally rely on something like that. I'm still going to, I'm not just going to go blindly in the woods and stick up one of those things and know that I'm okay. But that is not what we're talking about. We're talking about cover scent sprays, washes, soaps, that
clothing,
kind of
anything that like clothing's cover scent, anything like that that says it's eliminating odors. You know, I mean, we wash every night before our hunts or every morning. We have shampoo and body wash.
Right.
And, we have clothing that we put on. We have, cover scent sprays and all that, and even the ozonic stuff. Yes, but even all of that, even through the Seek One video that they did, even with ozonics, actually found him quicker using the ozonics than any of the other cover sprays.
I remember that.
So, I mean, does any of it work? To a certain degree, I believe it does, but to be totally relying on it is no. It's not an end all be all.
I think they said in the video that some of those scents, because he had so many, were confused. It confused the dog on which box he was in. He knew he was in that box at some point. He just didn't know if it was at that very second or if he was in like the box next to it. Obviously, when a deer narrows down between 10 feet, that's how close those boxes were.
Right.
I think that was what was confusing the dog with that. The ozonics machine that he had in him was eliminating every odor, hypothetically, every odor and the cover scents and all that. So it was kind of eliminating all the guesswork, and he was able to just smell him in the one box rather than having all of this scent strode everywhere. And the dog was like, "Is he in this box?" No, he was in that box last time, but he could still smell it. It was just, he was just there. So I think that, like, to further your point, none of it worked. The ozonics machine, the ozone machine seemed to work a little better, but I don't think he wasn't using an ozonics machine. I think he put his clothes in an ozone machine.
No, he had one in the box with it.
Oh, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And he even did that. So they put it in the little zip up bag or whatever, and they let it do its thing for 20, 30 minutes, and they tried that, and then they just put the freaking machine in the box with him, and he found him just as quick. So, and there may be some people out there, and look, this whole scent thing is going to differ between what kind of hunter you are. Are you a bow hunter? Are you a gun hunter? If you're a gun hunter, and you can shoot something in a cutover 200-300 yards away, not saying the deer can't smell obviously that far, but because they can, but
yeah, well, a lot of
bow
times
hunters have
are going to lift.
Yeah, bow hunters have to be so much more
right
in tune with this whole scent thing than someone that is overwatching a 2-3 acre cutover or pasture or a field or something like that. So yeah, and it plays into thermals, lifting, what time of day, different things like that. So understanding those things as a deer hunter, I think, is extremely important, and not being so reliable on what today's deer hunting scent market wants you to believe, I think, is the takeaway. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button. That really helps this video along. Smash the subscribe button. That really helps us out. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. So yeah, if we're not to be totally relying on that, what are some of the tactics? What are some of the things that we need to be mindful of? And obviously this is going to vary from topography, different types of terrain, different things like that. What are some of the things that you're most mindful of, and that you ensure that you do every time you enter the woods to try to harvest a mature buck, Jaden?
Me personally, like you said earlier, I hunt a lot of private land. So most of the time I'm pretty particular on my setup for entry and exit. So if I'm going to a particular spot, it's most likely because I have the wind for it. I know I can get in and out undisturbed, and each spot kind of will differ from morning and afternoon. And that's kind of how I go into it. If I'm doing all setups are a bust and I'm just kind of going in somewhere random, which early season I won't do in the morning, just because you know how thermals are in the morning time. Early season in Alabama, it's really pretty cool in the morning, and then it gets hot relatively quickly. So thermals can be a little more challenging sometimes in the morning. And early season mornings, I've done a little more harm than good early season. So sometimes I like to just stick to afternoons, at least for the first couple weeks of the season. But anyway, to further what I was saying, whenever I go into it, I'm thinking wind direction, hoping to have a consistent, steady wind. And that's something that I can kind of rely on because you and I both know where I hunt is pretty flat. It's mostly flat. So I get pretty consistent winds unless I'm in a swamp or a river bottom or something like that where I may have some big trees and hills and valleys and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
so,
but that's
so tell the viewer, if you don't know what thermals are, if you've never heard that discussed or whatever, so tell the viewer basically how they can check their thermals. Is it rising? Is it falling? Explain a little bit about thermals.
So people, I don't know if they know this or not, but heat rises. So I don't know if people know this either, but your fan in your house, it's directional. It's made to, in the wintertime, you're actually supposed to blow it where the air is blowing down because it blows the heat back down to the bottom floor of your house. And in the summer, you're supposed to actually turn the fan the opposite way so it pulls let's see if I'm saying that right. Yeah, so it basically recirculates the cool air back down. Instead of pushing the hot air down, it's pulling the cool air. Anyway, so same thing happens outside. Hot air, as the day gets hotter, the cool air that was down that's kind of why it's colder in the morning. The cool air is kind of where we're standing. As it gets hotter, it'll rise. And when it rises, your scent kind of rises with it. So in the afternoon, where you may be carefree, not worried about your scent as much, when the air starts to get colder and your scent starts to fall, your scent can actually push down. Like if you're high in a tree stand, your scent can actually push down and be more of a problem because now it's more down on ground level. Whereas in the morning, your scent may be more of a problem right when you get there because the air is kind of pushing it down. But as it gets hotter, it starts to lift. So typically the later into the morning, your thermals have risen and scent becomes to be less of an issue than it was. I mean, obviously, there's still, depending on how high up you are. But yeah, that's cool air falls, hot air rises, and it does that different times of the day based on temperature.
Is there an app that's kind or anything like that
I'm sure there is.
See that?
I don't actually know of one, but there's an app for everything. There's got to be.
So, like, if you're hunting in areas like,
do you have one? Do you use one?
Not that I know of. All I use is onX at this point in time, and I really only use it for scouting topography and or following or tracking myself into the woods.
Not to say that I have Moon Guide, I have Wind Compass, and I have onX, and then obviously I have all my camera stuff. But this Wind Compass app may possibly have something like that on it. I use it obviously mostly for the wind. It gives me temperature, dew point, barometric pressure, UV, which is not a huge concern for me, but I like it because it gives me the exact sunrise, sunset, civil dawn, and civil dusk. That's pretty important because most of the time most states it's 30 minutes before sunrise and 30 minutes after sunset is legal shooting lights, which is what civil dawn and civil dusk is. So
yeah,
what this is right here, show the camera, but yeah, then it kind of gives me the wind direction, precipitation, that kind of thing. So that's one that I use. Moon Guide I basically just use to find the red moon.
Yeah,
I haven't seen in there if it shows anything about thermals, but dude, honestly, just be smart and know that, hey, if it's going to be 40 degrees in the morning and it's going to get up to 68 within 2 hours, just know your thermals are going to rise, and
Yeah.
or vice versa in the afternoon. If it's
Yeah.
85 degrees at 3 o'clock and it's going to get down to 60, you're going to have some falling temperatures and falling air. It means falling scent.
And, like, I don't know if anybody, well, I don't know if anybody, but if any of y'all out there hasn't seen Story of Pain, it talks about, I was hunting on a plot a pretty good bit this past year, that the wind was never perfect. It always came down off of between two ridges, and it always swirled right around that plot, and I would have to actually hunt kind of back off of it, but I was gun hunting it. So, in situations like that, thermals is a good thing to take into consideration, that, okay, there's really never a perfect wind in here. It's always going to swirl no matter what kind of wind. So having those thermals to lift at certain parts of the day is something to definitely take into consideration and use to your advantage.
So for you, it would most likely be late morning, or 9 to 11 o'clock, really up until 3-4 o'clock, until it started to fall again. You would probably be.
And in that situation, I basically found or figured out where the deer majoritarily were coming from, and backed off the field, and figured out basically that no matter what the wind was doing, it was always going to push down this road. And so therefore, stand placement according to that. Now, that's something that I've learned over time hunting this, property. There's several places on the property that are just like that, and you have to place your stand according to not what wind is best, but according to, it doesn't matter what the wind is doing, it's always going to push down this gully or this ridge or this road or whatever. So those are some things that you have to. Yeah, it's just going to naturally do that. So those are some things you have to consider as well.
Yeah. And I've always thought about this. Not only is it cooler in early in the morning and in the afternoon, but because of thermals, I think that's one reason why deer like to move right at first time in the morning and right at last light, is because their sense of smell, they feel that they can smell more and better at those times, and that's scientifically proven that they can, because the thermals have dropped and all of the scent is down 8-10 feet off the ground rather than way up in the air. So they choose to travel at those times because of they can smell better. Just like they don't like traveling necessarily as much in the rain. It masks a lot of scent, masks a lot of ground scent, all that kind of stuff. So obviously it's cooler and you've got that whole thing. Obviously they don't want to travel when it's really, really hot if they don't have to. But I think that's a main thing to consider, is that they're traveling when they can smell the best and the thermal conditions are in their favor.
Right. Yep. And, deer have what's called nasal glands. And here's just a little bit more factual information. A deer's nose was designed for survival. Within this system is the nasal gland, located on its inside edge of each nostril. And basically what this gland does, it's designed for detecting odors in the air, and the gland lubricates the nasal passage, allowing for greater reception of scent in the air. And you'll notice, if you hunt enough deer, you'll notice sometimes, especially mature bucks, they'll lick their nose. And that is also said that intensifies or allows them to smell even greater through basically lubricating the nasal passage to smell better. So deer are set up that their nose, you'll never fool a deer's nose. You might outsmart it with, taking all these precautions with thermals and wind and cover scent and all that stuff, but that's really the only way that you're going to get in, especially as a bow hunter, close enough to a mature buck to capitalize on him. So That's some pretty
And just
interesting
to
stuff. All the different glands and how the deer use them, and
right,
they're a very
and like those
complex yard goat.
yard goat, old buck goat.
Yeah.
Um, no, the just to further what you were talking about, obviously the deer's got a lot of glands. I think it's like 14.
7.
Maybe I'm thinking 7, and it's
Mm-hmm.
on both sides, like each leg or something like that. Anyway, uh, they're inside the nose, and they are only there to detect odor and are not known to produce any scent. So unlike the ones on their eyes and their feet and the back of their legs, the ones in their nose aren't there to help them with communication with other deer or leave scent or anything like that. They're only there for smelling. So
right. And a lot of people think that, the tarsal glands produce scent, but actually they just produce a wax that is to capture the urine
yeah,
within those little pockets of hair, whatever.
yeah,
They don't actually produce scent. So now
yeah. From what
your
what
preorbital and
from
your
what I was
forehead glands are the two
right,
that are.
and then the ones up under the bottom of their feet.
Mm-hmm, yep, the inner digital glands. Those are to produce basically for communication. That's how a deer.
Right.
That's how whitetail deer communicate with each other. It's through those scents, through those glands, and that's pretty that's pretty incredible. If you really get in and dive into what all you know the glands and the scent and all the stuff that you know embodies a whitetail deer, it's pretty
Yeah.
fascinating. So, but
Yeah. They're super
you'll see
fascinating.
them. That's why we use mock scrapes. It's a good way to kind of get some, um, some inventory, I guess is the best word to say,
Yeah.
on your deer herd, and kind of see what's coming through there, and narrow down a few trails into one main trail, and they'll start as a community start using that one licking branch or that mock scrape, and a lot of times what you'll see, or really what you will see, is them using the glands in front of their eye, front corner of their eye, the preorbital gland, and then like a lot of times what they'll use the forehead gland for, it is similar to what we call sweat glands, or the forehead gland. It lies beneath the hair follicles of a buck's forehead. Just some more factual stuff right here. This gland secretes a fatty oil that bucks transfer to a rub tree, post, or licking branch in the communication process. Primarily done during rut, but research shows that forehead glands to be most active in dominant bucks. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool factual stuff. But
you imagine if humans just like went around rubbing their head on stuff like this is my truck. Start rubbing their head on it.
Yeah.
This is my house.
This is my house. I'm gonna rub the post of the door.
What's that idiot doing rubbing his head on the brick? He's just letting us know it's his.
Yeah, he's just letting you know he was here, and it's his house. If you touch it, there could be some words.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a deer's the end all be all on the whole smell, scent stuff. A deer's survival is based off of its sense of smell. So
right, and to think that a human is going to create something that's going to totally eliminate the need to care about wind and thermals is just you're not going to fool me. I've seen too much. I've hunted deer all my life. No way. It's just it's not going to happen. I mean, they can. You can walk through the woods and leave a boot footprint with your rubber boots, and if that deer's nose is to the ground when he walks by, it don't matter if you were there 3 weeks ago. It's very possible that he gets a whiff of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible the power that they have in their nose. I mean, we believe it with dogs, and we use them, and we've already talked about how much more they are than a dog. So I don't know, to think you can just spray something on your jacket and let it dry and be good. There's a lot of people out there that make it harder for the rest of us because they just they just go hunt in the jacket that they've worn 300 times, and it's been in the back of their truck.
Yeah.
And smells like burgers and dog food and nails and everything else they got rolling around the back seat. And then they just spray some, what is that? What's the stuff in the yellow and white bottle?
Oh, Lord.
I guess it's just scent killer.
Yeah.
It's going to bother me. But there is one that somebody makes that it smells like a outdoorsy.
You talking about the
tree.
dirt spray?
Dirt spray. Yeah. Is that what it is? Do they make one? Somebody makes one.
Yeah.
That stuff just smells good. I almost just want to just put it on my clothes anyway.
Yeah. So I've used something like what's pretty much I call dirt spray. I'm not sure.
Let's see
what company it is, but I've used that my whole life. I love the smell of dirt. So, like if I don't smell like dirt, I ain't deer hunting, So I do it for my own sanity. Has nothing to do with masking scent. No, for a long time though, I did believe that was an end all be all for me, but
yeah,
it was not.
Okay, so it's Scent Killer.
The
brand that I'm thinking of.
Yep.
Wildlife Research Center's Supercharged Scent Killer Ultimate Value Pack.
Mm-hmm.
Baby. Comes with the deodorant, the spray, the wash, the...
Who knows what is all in that stuff, man? Like, it could just be killing us, too, at the same time.
Okay, we've got the anti-odor unscented formula bar of soap, the spray, that's detergent, I think. No, this is the detergent, clothing wash, some kind of green bottle.
Something else pretty fascinating that was done with deer, whitetail deer. The government actually, at one point in time, and I picked this up off of the Seek One video, but the government at one point in time was actually trying to train whitetail deer, because their scent receptors and because their ability to smell was so much greater.
Training like a drug dog?
Yeah, seriously.
That's
there
awesome.
was government money put into that because their sense of smell is so much greater. But I think the whole part was the whole reward based. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like a dog. Like, okay, I can train him to do this. I think it was more the trainability factor, because I mean, dogs have just evolved so many years to become what they are, and whitetail deer are just pretty much still just what they are, as a wild animal. I'm not saying you can't tame a deer, but at the same time, like their genetics and the makeup is just not of what a dog is. So there was a little hitch in that giddy up, but there was research done trying to get deer to smell out bombs and drugs, and I mean, hell, they can smell it, but
you just couldn't do it in the middle of January for us, or November for a lot of the world, because they'd be bucking people and ramming the side of cars. But no, this Scent Killer Autumn formula is the one that I've used in the past. That I think that stuff just smells fantastic.
Is that the one that smells like an acorn?
Yes.
Is it acorn or acorn?
I'm gonna always say acorn. It may be acorn, but that's too much. Acorn. You have to do a lot with your mouth.
Well, it's not corn.
No,
it's not yellow, so it can't be corn. It's acorn.
Acorn. I don't know, but this is autumn formula.
Autumn
is what it's called. Supercharged Scent Killer Autumn formula.
Well,
and it is very cheap, actually.
Right, should be.
It should be. It's dirt spray. It should be pretty cheap.
Brandon, he wore something always on his stuff that smelled like sweet acorns. He wore that for years.
Yeah. Now I will say this to further my point of trying to make a positive influence. How I smell, and I don't know if you've ever had a woman or anybody tell you that you have a particular smell, like, I don't know what it is. It's not bad. It's not good. You just have a smell. Have you ever had somebody tell you that?
Sure.
Okay. So I think that a deer can correlate between me and you. So
Sure.
they can correlate me feeding versus you feeding. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I've done nothing but feed my deer for a year, and then you go in there and feed them, it may not bother them, but I bet you they can tell. I bet you that they know that it wasn't me and it was somebody else. I can almost assure it.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be that way. I mean, because of their abilities to separate scent. I mean,
yeah. I mean, if humans can notice that you have a smell, obviously
sure.
a deer can like tell you exactly what that is. Like, yeah, you've got an iron deficiency. That's what that smell is, or whatever. But I guarantee
you got gut
that
problems.
yeah,
Yeah.
you've got irregular bowel movement.
Yeah.
Is what that problem. But no, I bet you that they could. So, with all that being said, I think that it probably would do good to try to smell the same, to try to, I don't know, wear the same stuff, be as consistent as possible. Now, obviously, that's pretty far fetched, even for me, but I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, I can't go feed my deer because I don't smell like fire smoke because I smelled like fire smoke last week. I can't go feed them. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to feed my deer. But I don't think it matters because I think that they can smell like my skin.
We used to hang up when we'd hunt public land, we'd have campfires at night and stuff like that. We'd hang up our jackets, pants, and everything and just let the campfire smoke. Just let the fire smoke just engulf our clothes. And, you smell like campfire all week, but I mean, obviously that's something that they're used to smelling. But this goes back to the whole, they can smell your campfire and they can smell you, the human scent.
Yeah.
So I think humans obviously put off smells. Now, I don't know this to be factual or not. I mean, somebody could probably think, well, he's an idiot, but, I think a lot of that comes through what you eat and drink and, and things like that. Some of your odors that you emit. So.
Oh yeah,
but
for sure.
I mean,
you eat asparagus and you go take a leak, it's gonna smell like some strong minerals, So I mean, you eat nothing but Big Macs all day, you're gonna smell different than a guy who eats celery and salmon,
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's just body odor. Like people that eat crap have terrible body odor.
Mm-hmm.
They just leak a bunch of junk out. But anyway, I'm probably gonna get me some of this autumn scent just to smell
good.
I think it smells fantastic. I don't even use it for cover scent. I use it for perfume or cologne. Just spray it in my truck.
Well, I think we've lost our sanity and we've milked this subject about as far as we can.
Yeah. Wrap it on it up. I think that cover scent is all well and good. Use it. We do. But don't rely on it. Don't think that you're safe to hunt that south wind when you know you shouldn't just because you've got cover scent. Go hunt somewhere else. Move your stand.
Yeah.
Or don't go.
Just don't go.
Don't
okay.
Rely on your.
Yeah, it's okay, guys, just to not go hunting that day. Waiting for the best opportunity, meaning the best weather patterns, the best moon phases, the best, all that stuff. That is the best time to enter, especially mature bucks area.
Yeah, you will do more harm than good by going every day rather than being particular about when you go.
Yeah.
And, you may go 5 times out of the year and those 5 times be super successful and think, oh, man, I only went 5 times and I saw deer every time. Don't think that it would change if you went 10. That's not, you just either went on the right times or you picked the right times. But sometimes going more often is worse for you.
Right.
Getting scent in there, they smell it, it's just a bad time. That deer could come out any direction. So
Right. So guys, give us some feedback. Tell us what you think. Comments. We'd like to know what you think on the matter of this subject. Also, we're going to be doing a lot more podcasts, me and JJ, about certain topics. Different things about bedding, the difference between doe bed family groups, buck bedding, how they enter, how they leave, how they use the wind to their advantage, different parts of the year, seasonal patterns, summer versus fall, winter patterns, different things like that. So we got a lot of topics that we're going to cover as we progress. But guys, let us know what you think. If there's any questions that you guys have or any topics that you guys out there would like for us to cover, please shoot us over a comment. Also, guys, always try to give us a thumbs up if you can remember. If you like the content, that really helps us out. It allows us to progress in making our content. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. And we'll see you guys next time. Jaden, you got anything you want to add?
Y'all go watch our new hunting video that we released. If you're seeing this podcast, it came out probably a couple of weeks ago, but I think the next one is going to be pretty good. It's got some footage, which it may have Masters hunt on there by then, but
yep, it'll be there.
Anyway, it'll be there.
It'll probably week. So if you're seeing this video,
it'll have dropped.
Right. If you're seeing this video, all of our hunts from last year will be live, but you'll also be seeing some of this year's hunts as we head to Missouri and different places like that in bow season as we start getting that started up.
So yeah, y'all go watch some of the stuff we've done in the past. We're getting progressively better. Obviously, we're only been doing this for I think right at 2 years now, so a lot to learn. But any support, comments, likes, anything like that really, really does help us out. We love to hear from you. We read every comment because most of the time there's only 10 or 12 at most. So we definitely read them all because we got enough time for that. But yeah, go watch some of those videos. They're awesome. And yeah, see you next time. I think we're going to get into some mock scrapes and stuff too. We got a little bit on that today, but we'll probably dive in further on how we make them and where we make them and that kind of thing on the next one. So
yeah, we got some
maybe
video.
We'll have Masters with us too.
Yeah, we got some good video of how we're making our mock scrapes and how we use them. And, we put out one just 2 days ago and with less than 10 hours, there was already deer activity on them. So pretty cool stuff. And yeah, we'll have Brandon back with us pretty soon. But yeah, guys, go check out the hunts. The hunts are a lot of fun. We're getting a lot better in our content quality. So if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing, subscribe, thumbs up, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you guys soon.
See you guys.
Harmony Game Calls, custom handmade game calls. You can find us on the web at www.harmonygamecalls.com.